Have you ever wondered how to provide the best care for your elderly loved ones without draining your bank account? You're not alone. In today's world, ensuring that our seniors live with dignity and happiness while managing costs can seem like a daunting task. In this video, we'll share 3 inspiring real-life stories of seniors who have discovered creative and affordable ways to age gracefully. You'll learn how strengthening family relationships, tapping into community support, and adapting to new lifestyles can make all the difference. But that's not all. You'll also gain practical tips and actionable strategies that you can apply in your own life to support your elders effectively. Whether you're looking for ways to enhance your family's bond, seeking community resources, or exploring innovative living arrangements, this video has something valuable for you. Stay with us until the end to discover solutions that not only preserve your loved one's independence and happiness, but also ensure that your financial well-being remains intact. Don't miss out on these heartfelt stories and expert advice that could transform the way you care for your elderly family members. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1 is the experience of Grandpa Sue, 75 years old. Reflecting on my life experiences, particularly the challenges I've faced since turning 75, I feel compelled to share my story, a tapestry woven with moments of love, loss, and resilience. My name is Grandpa Sue, and life has taken me on an unexpected journey, especially after the heart-wrenching loss of my beloved wife over 5 years ago. Her absence left a gaping hole in my heart and a profound loneliness in my home, a home that once echoed with laughter, warmth, and companionship. As I grappled with this loss, I found myself navigating the complex world of elder care, desperately seeking a solution that would ensure my well-being without sacrificing my dignity and independence. In the wake of my wife's passing, my children, filled with love and concern, urged me to hire a caregiver. They worried about my eating habits, knowing all too well that I had never been the best cook. Their intentions were noble. They wanted to ensure that I was not only fed but also cared for in a way that reflected the love they felt for me. We agreed on a monthly payment of 5,500 yuan, which was supposed to cover food and lodging for the caregiver. Initially, I was hopeful that this arrangement would ease my burdens, but that hope quickly faded. The woman they found was around 40 years old, and hailing from a rural area. At first glance, she seemed honest and well-intentioned, but the reality was starkly different. The meals she prepared were, to put it bluntly, dreadful. Eating was supposed to be a joyful experience, but instead, I found myself struggling with inedible dishes that left me longing for the flavorful, lovingly prepared meals my wife used to create. I recall one evening when she served a rubbery concoction that looked like it had been pulled straight from a can, and I couldn't help but feel a wave of nostalgia wash over me for the delicious feasts of my past. Moreover, it was disheartening to witness her spending the majority of her time glued to her phone or idly watching TV, often missing my calls for help. There were days when I would call her multiple times, only to be met with silence or the disinterested sound of her show in the background. I felt invisible, as if my presence was merely an inconvenience to her rather than the reason she was employed. The arrangement felt reversed. Instead of receiving care, I felt like I was the one caring for her, trying to maintain a semblance of order in my own home. I couldn't justify spending over 5,000 yuan a month for someone who offered little more than the frustrating reality of feeling neglected. After much contemplation, I decided it was better to take charge of my meals and well-being, choosing instead to rely on my abilities rather than on someone who didn't seem to value their role. Letting her go was a difficult decision, but I knew it was necessary for my peace of mind. With the caregiver gone, my children, still concerned for my well-being, later found a spot for me in a nursing home. Despite their love and concern, the idea filled me with dread and trepidation. I had heard stories about nursing homes, some good, some bad, but the thought of losing my freedom was unbearable. While it's true that many nursing homes today have improved significantly, they come with strict rules that feel stifling to someone like me who treasures independence. The requirement to register every time I left or entered felt more like a prison than a place of care. The reality of life in such places, where I witnessed many elderly residents pass away, cast a dark shadow over the atmosphere, making it unbearably depressing. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I remember sitting in the common area, surrounded by the echo of hollow conversations and the muted beeping of machines, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was simply waiting for my turn. I quickly realized that I could not endure the restrictions and emotional toll of a nursing home. The sterile walls, devoid of personality, and the monotonous routine were a far cry from the vibrant life I once led. It became abundantly clear to me that as long as I could take care of myself, I would avoid that path at all costs. After my brief and uncomfortable stint in the nursing home, my children suggested an alternative, rotating my stay among their homes. While they meant well, I often felt like an unwelcome guest rather than a cherished parent. My son and his wife welcomed me into their home, but I never stayed for more than 2 weeks at a time. They are both busy with work, and I always felt like a burden, a weight they carried alongside their daily responsibilities. My daughter-in-law, while caring, would prepare lunch for me before leaving for her job, but I could sense the strain in their lives. They were already stretched thin, juggling work and household chores, and the last thing I wanted was to add to their burdens. During the day, I found myself alone in their house, isolated and detached from the world. I didn't know the neighbors and often felt like an intruder in a life that was not my own. It was disheartening to notice how, as I've aged, there seems to be a subtle shift in how younger people regard me, a sort of unspoken disdain that leaves me feeling marginalized. At my son's home, I was given utensils specifically designated for me, different from what they used. This felt like a silent acknowledgement of my age, a reminder that I was somehow different and perhaps less worthy of the same treatment. In my daughter-in-law's house, I faced another indignity. She would not allow me to use the washing machine because of what she described as the unpleasant smell of old age. It hurt to be reminded of my age in such a tangible way, and the very notion made me feel like a relic rather than a beloved family member. I preferred to wash my clothes by hand, a habit instilled in me from my youth, but she disapproved. Instead, I had to make the inconvenient trip to the laundromat downstairs, which felt like a further separation from the comfort and autonomy I longed for. The simple act of doing laundry became a reminder of my situation, of how the world saw me, and it stung deeply. In my heart, I know there is truly no place like home. My daughter and her husband have always treated me kindly, and I appreciate their love, but I never intended for them to shoulder the responsibility of my care in my twilight years. Each visit to their home was filled with kindness, but I couldn't help but feel the weight of obligation on them. They already have their own parents to care for, and the balance of family responsibilities is something that weighs heavily on all of us. Reflecting on the years that have passed since my wife left this world, I've come to a profound realization. As I grow older, it becomes increasingly important to rely on myself. I understand now that while my children mean well, they cannot replace the companionship and love I once had. While the world outside continues to change, and the circumstances of my life shift, I hold on to the belief that as long as I am capable of caring for myself, I will remain in my own home. It is a sanctuary filled with memories of laughter, love, and the warmth of companionship. This is where I truly belong, and in the quiet moments of reflection, I find peace in knowing that I can still navigate my life on my terms. Each morning I wake up in my bed, surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds of my home. I am reminded of the life I've built, the love I've shared, and the resilience I've cultivated. I may be older, but I refuse to be defined by my age or the limitations others impose upon me. My home is my refuge, a place where I can continue to thrive, cherish my independence, and honor the beautiful memories of the past while embracing the possibilities of each new day. Now, I find myself on a remarkable journey of self-discovery and well-being, having learned to cook delicious stir-fry dishes and even mastered the art of crafting fluffy steamed buns. There's an unparalleled joy that comes with preparing a meal from scratch, a sense of accomplishment that fills my heart as I watch the vibrant colors of fresh vegetables blend in the pan. Each dish I create feels like a little piece of my spirit, infused with love and care. Cooking has become not just a necessity but a beautiful ritual that allows me to express creativity while nourishing my body. Alongside this culinary exploration, I've embraced the gentle practice of Tai Chi each morning. Standing in the soft light of dawn, with the crisp air surrounding me, I move my body in fluid motions that connect my mind, body, and spirit. The rhythmic flow of Tai Chi has transformed my mornings into a sanctuary of peace and mindfulness. In the square, I gather with a spirited group of elderly individuals, each one bringing their unique stories and experiences to our practice. It's more than just exercise. It's a heartfelt celebration of life, community, and the resilience that comes with age. Together, we prioritize our health and nurture a positive attitude, and this has become the cornerstone of our daily lives. Last year, alongside my newfound friends in the Tai Chi circle, we created something truly special, a nurturing form of self-care that emphasizes mutual support and connection. We come together not only to practice Tai Chi but to uplift one another, sharing our joys and sorrows as we navigate the complexities of aging. In our tight-knit group of over 10 members, 8 of us are seniors who find ourselves without partners or children living nearby. Recognizing the profound importance of companionship in this chapter of our lives, we took the initiative to form a WeChat group specifically for elderly individuals living alone. Since its inception, our little community has blossomed to nearly 20 members, each one bringing their unique wisdom and warmth to our gathering. You might wonder, what's the purpose of this group? As we gracefully age, the absence of family nearby can often feel isolating. When we experience discomfort or pain, it becomes incredibly vital to have someone to turn to, a friend who understands our struggles. Many elderly folks, like us, prefer to avoid nursing homes or hiring caregivers, especially when pensions are modest. That's why we've united. We look out for one another during this precious stage of life, ensuring that no one feels alone. In recent years, countless heartbreaking stories have emerged about elderly individuals living alone, passing away in their homes, and only being discovered days later. These tragic tales resonate deeply within us and serve as a wake-up call to create our group, fostering a sense of connection and assurance that we are all okay. Each morning, we diligently check in with one another. If someone doesn't respond, we spring into action and go check on them. Thankfully, we all live nearby, either in the same neighborhood or in adjacent ones, which makes it easy to offer a helping hand. Over time, this group has transformed into a supportive haven where we can share our experiences and challenges without fear of judgment. For instance, if someone falls ill and needs a comforting bowl of soup or requires assistance getting to the hospital, we've implemented a system that allows us to help one another seamlessly. It's not free. There's a compensation plan where we pay 8 yuan per hour for assistance. If I find myself unwell and in need of a ride to the hospital, I simply reach out to the group, and a kind soul will step forward to accompany me. Just the other day, Grandpa came to my aid during a hospital visit. He helped me navigate the various consultations over 3 days, dedicating 8 hours each day to ensure I received the care I needed. In total, he provided 24 hours of invaluable support, and as agreed, I compensated him with 720 yuan. The gratitude I felt was immense. Knowing I had someone by my side made all the difference in the world. This arrangement has been a resounding success among us. Not only do we have reliable support when we need it most, but we also find ourselves earning some extra income while nurturing our bonds. Sometimes, I take care of you, and I receive compensation. Other times, you care for me, and I reciprocate. It's a fair and balanced system that fosters mutual understanding, trust, and camaraderie. Every member of our group shares similar experiences, which makes it easy to connect on a deeper emotional level. This approach resonates profoundly with us, the elderly, providing a cost-effective alternative to hiring aides or moving into nursing homes. Above all, we find comfort in knowing we can rely on one another, which has significantly alleviated our children's worries. Beyond our daily check-ins, we often organize delightful group outings, strolling through the park and breathing in the fresh air as we share laughter and stories. The joy we find in these shared moments is immeasurable. It's like a balm for our souls. What began as a small gathering has blossomed into a thriving community of dozens, with more elderly individuals eager to join our ranks, enriching our lives with their presence. This network not only lightens the burden on our children, but also provides us with essential emotional support. Each day, there's someone who genuinely cares about us, reaches out, and checks in. If illness strikes, we no longer dread the thought of facing it alone in silence. With just a few hundred yuan, we create a network of care and companionship that's far more affordable than hiring a caregiver or settling into a nursing home. I wholeheartedly believe that this option is ideal for many elderly individuals who can still care for themselves. Together, we forged a path of collective support and compassion, helping one another through the golden years while even earning a little extra along the way. In this journey of aging, we find strength in unity, laughter, companionship, and hope in every shared moment. The richness of our connections nurtures our spirits and reminds us that even in the later stages of life, we can thrive, supported by the love and understanding of our chosen family. 2. I'm Grandpa. I'm 65 years old. At 65 years old, I wear the title of Grandpa with pride, a badge of honor earned through years of love, laughter, and the bittersweet lessons that come with life's journey. My children, bless their hearts, are incredibly considerate and attentive. They constantly check in on me, ensuring I'm well and that I have everything I need. Their kindness is a beautiful reflection of the love we've cultivated over the years. However, I've chosen a different path for my life, a path that resonates with my desires and needs as I navigate these golden years. Many older adults, upon retiring, feel compelled to move in with their children or transition into a senior living community. While I completely understand the appeal of these options for some, they simply do not resonate with me. The life I lead now, in my cozy little home, is one of great comfort and fulfillment, a choice that brings me immense joy and a sense of peace. Since the passing of my beloved wife over 2 years ago, the world has felt a little dimmer, as if the light has been turned down a notch. Her absence is a palpable void, a constant reminder of the love we shared, the laughter, the whispered secrets, the dreams we wove together like a beautiful tapestry. Losing her has been one of the hardest things I've faced, and there are days when the ache of her loss is almost unbearable. Yet, amid this grief, I've discovered a profound contentment in my solitude. Friends and acquaintances often suggest that I should seek out a new partner, urging me to find companionship again, but my heart isn't in it. I deeply value the serenity of my own company. After experiencing the deep love and connection I had with my wife, the thought of starting anew feels overwhelming and uncomfortable. Instead, I find solace in my hobbies, writing my thoughts and reflections, losing myself in the pages of captivating books, and nurturing my plants, which have become my silent companions. Each morning, as I attend to them with care, I whisper sweet nothings, thanking them for their presence. They thrive under my attention, just as I thrive under my wife's love, and in their growth, I find a semblance of comfort. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Occasionally, I gather with friends from the neighborhood for tea and conversation, which warms my heart and reminds me of the beauty of connection, even if it's fleeting. These moments are like little bursts of sunshine, illuminating the quiet corners of my life and reminding me that I am not entirely alone in this journey. Laughter and shared stories create a sense of camaraderie that brightens my day and helps me navigate the waves of loneliness that sometimes crash against the shores of my heart. Living alone suits me perfectly. It's a state of being I cherish. My children live just a short 30-minute drive away, and their efforts to visit me from time to time are like rays of warmth breaking through the clouds, infusing my home with love and joy. Yet, despite their kindness, I relish my independence. With a monthly pension of 6,000 yuan, I feel financially secure. This stability allows me to indulge in the little pleasures of life without constantly worrying about the next bill. Because my children have started families of their own, I am free from any financial burdens or pressures. This independence gives me the space to save and plan for the future, adding a layer of tranquility to my daily life that I deeply appreciate. However, my children worry about me. Their hearts are filled with concern, and they often urge me to consider moving in with them. They do not want me to feel isolated or alone, and while I appreciate their intentions and the love behind their suggestions, I simply cannot acquiesce to their wishes. The very idea of uprooting my life to reside with them feels burdensome, not just to me, but to them as well. I would never want to impose my presence on their already busy lives, filled with the delightful chaos of children and responsibilities. I've seen how hard they work to provide for their families, and I refuse to be an added weight on their shoulders. Their homes are vibrant with energy and laughter, but they are not my home. They deserve to enjoy their space without the complications that come from having an elderly parent living with them. When the conversation shifted to the possibility of hiring a caregiver, I immediately shook my head in protest. The notion of having a young woman in my home felt inappropriate and invasive. My daughter, noticing my discomfort, couldn't help but laugh, but I knew she was just trying to look out for me. The term elderly assistance piqued my curiosity. It suggested a service that might offer me the care I need without compromising my independence. As my daughter explained the concept, I found myself intrigued, my interest piqued by the possibilities it offered. She described how they install cameras in homes linked to family members' phones, providing reassurance that help is always just a call away. The idea that someone would come daily to deliver meals, take care of laundry, and check in on me began to sound increasingly appealing as I pictured the convenience it could bring to my daily routine. When my daughter smiled and asked for my thoughts on this type of elderly care, I couldn't help but chuckle. All right, I responded, feeling a flicker of acceptance. Yet one concern loomed in my mind: the cost. I hesitated to ask about it, fearing it would be burdensome. However, my daughter quickly alleviated my worries, assuring me that it would only be 2,500 yuan a month and that she and my son would handle the expenses. Don't worry about the money, she said, patting my shoulder affectionately. It warmed my heart to know they cared so deeply, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there are elderly relatives and children to consider, and they all need financial support as well. My mind raced with thoughts of how they were stretching their resources to accommodate me. With a pension that comfortably covers my needs, I reluctantly agreed to the arrangement. It offers me a newfound sense of freedom while providing the care I might need in the future. I genuinely appreciate this innovative approach to elderly care. It allows me to enjoy my independence while ensuring that I am well looked after, a true blessing in this stage of my life. I feel a wave of gratitude wash over me, knowing that my children's love and concern have led to this solution, allowing me to embrace my old age with peace and joy. What a wonderful gift this is, enabling me to savor the happiness of my twilight years. Now, as I sit in my cozy living room, surrounded by the plants that have become my companions, I look forward to each day with renewed hope and contentment. The gentle rustle of the leaves and the vibrant colors of the blooms remind me of the beauty that still exists in the world. I cherish my morning routine, where I take my time to sip tea and watch the sunrise, painting the sky in hues of gold and orange. Each new day is a reminder that life, despite its challenges, still holds moments of joy and beauty. This new arrangement not only ensures my well-being but also allows me the freedom to live life on my terms. I can continue to write my reflections, enjoy the tranquility of my home, and relish those precious visits from my children. In this moment, I feel truly blessed, embracing the beauty of life, even in its later chapters. The future may hold uncertainties, but with my children's love and this new form of care, I am ready to face whatever comes my way, with a heart full of gratitude and a spirit that remains unbroken. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that it is a tapestry woven with threads of love, loss, resilience, and newfound hope. My story continues to unfold, and I look forward to each chapter with an open heart, ready to embrace whatever comes next. 3. I'm Aunt Lou, and I'm 67 years old. My name is Aunt Lou, and this year I celebrate the significant milestone of turning 67 years old. It's a momentous occasion that prompts me to reflect deeply on my life's journey, filled with twists and turns that have shaped who I am today. After a series of experiences living with my daughter and exploring what elderly care could look like, I have finally discovered a type of care that feels most appropriate for me, one that resonates with my needs and desires. In my younger days, I devoted myself to a fulfilling career as a supervisor at a state-owned garment factory. I took great pride in my work, leading my team with determination and fostering a sense of camaraderie among my colleagues. Those days were filled with purpose and productivity, and I learned the importance of hard work and resilience. Now, with time, my monthly pension exceeds 4,200 yuan, a modest sum that I have learned to manage carefully, ensuring that I can live independently and with dignity. I have 2 beautiful children, a son and a daughter, both of whom are diligently working towards completing their college education. Their aspirations fill me with hope and pride, reminding me of the dreams I had for them. My son, with his ambitions burning brightly, decided to remain in Shingo to advance his career. I am overjoyed to see him thriving. He has built a comfortable life for himself, complete with his own home, a car, and a lovely family. He and his wife are doting parents to their little boy, and seeing them together fills my heart with warmth. My daughter, on the other hand, lives farther away, but she too is flourishing. She recently welcomed her second child into the world, adding another layer of joy to our family tapestry. However, life can change dramatically in an instant, as I learned all too well after my retirement. In the beginning, I envisioned a tranquil and fulfilling retirement spent at home, surrounded by the memories of a life well lived. I longed for independence and didn't want to be a burden to anyone. Yet, everything changed when my husband turned 68. The day he suffered a severe stroke was etched into my mind like a painful scar. The news shattered our world, and he passed away suddenly, leaving me with a profound sense of loss that felt insurmountable. The impact of losing my husband was like a tidal wave crashing over me. I struggled to navigate the overwhelming waves of grief and loneliness that followed. For many long nights, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to find solace amidst the echoes of our shared memories. My heart ached with the realization that life is incredibly fragile, and we often take for granted the moments we have with our loved ones. His absence left an indelible mark on our home. Every corner seemed to hold a memory of him, each item a reminder of the love we shared. I would sit in the living room, lost in thought, feeling the weight of silence wrap around me like a heavy blanket. I often found myself whispering into the empty air, wishing for just one more conversation, one more shared laugh. The longing for his presence was unbearable. My children, in their thoughtful and caring ways, reached out to me during this trying time. My daughter, especially, was a beacon of support, calling frequently to check on my well-being and inviting me to stay with her for a while. My son also contacted me, encouraging me to come to his home. In those moments, I felt a flicker of comfort and connection, a reminder that I was not entirely alone in this vast world. Despite my children's well-meaning intentions, I felt the pull of tradition weighing heavily on my heart. In our culture, it is expected that elderly parents should be cared for at home. However, with my daughter living so far away, I decided it would be best to spend some time at my son's house, thinking it would bring a sense of belonging and support. Yet, little did I know that my expectations would soon collide with a harsh reality. Upon moving in with my son, I quickly realized that life there was not as idyllic as I had envisioned. The household was bustling with activity, filled with the innocent chaos that only young children can bring. My son had 2 little ones, my grandson and granddaughter, who were full of energy and life. I had hoped to step into a supportive role, offering my love and care to my grandchildren. However, I found myself feeling overwhelmed and out of place. I had once cared for my grandson until he was over 2 years old, but life had taken its toll, and now, with my daughter-in-law also navigating her responsibilities, the dynamics of our family had shifted dramatically. When my granddaughter was born, my daughter-in-law had to leave her job to take care of the children, and the burden of responsibility felt heavy on everyone's shoulders. My daughter-in-law, despite her best efforts, seemed to struggle with the demands of motherhood, and I sensed the strain in her demeanor. Initially, she had hoped I could assist with the baby, but given my own experiences of caring for my husband in his declining health, I hesitated. I didn't want to overstep or take on a role that I was no longer physically or emotionally equipped to fulfill. Perhaps this hesitation bred a distance between us, a lingering tension that simmered beneath the surface of our interactions. When I finally arrived at my son's house, I was optimistic and ready to embrace my new surroundings. However, I soon discovered that my daughter-in-law's frustration toward me was palpable. She didn't openly express her feelings, but the atmosphere felt charged with unspoken grievances. She would make comments that stung, implying that I had been absent when they needed me the most and that despite my age, I should know better than to intrude. It was a painful realization, and each day seemed to highlight the widening chasm between us. Every task in the house quickly became my responsibility, as my daughter-in-law rarely cooked or helped with chores. I found myself back in the role of caregiver, cooking meals and washing dishes, responsibilities I thought I had left behind. Once, during a family dinner, my granddaughter innocently asked, "Grandma, why do you cook like that?" The question pierced my heart, but my daughter-in-law's silence as she abruptly took the children and slammed the door behind her spoke volumes. The tension in the air was suffocating, and I felt my spirit wither a little more each day I spent in my son's house. Despite my efforts to bond with my grandchildren, my daughter-in-law's dismissive attitude made me feel unwelcome. Each day was a new source of discomfort, filled with constant tension and an overwhelming sense of dread. The warmth of family, which I had yearned for, seemed to slip through my fingers like sand. Instead of enjoying the fruits of my retirement, I was left feeling like a stranger in my own family. What hurt even more was the frequent arguments between my son and daughter-in-law. They clashed often, their voices raised in conflict, creating an environment that felt more like a battlefield than a home. The children were quieter than usual, reflecting the unease that hung heavily in the air, and I began to feel like an unwitting participant in their struggles. After less than 2 weeks of living in this tense environment, I realized I couldn't endure it any longer. I gathered my belongings and asked my son to take me back to my hometown. At that moment, I acknowledged a painful truth. Relying on my son for elderly care was more complicated than I had anticipated, and I certainly couldn't count on my daughter-in-law for support. Returning home was a bittersweet relief. I felt a mix of liberation and sadness, knowing that my family dynamics had shifted in ways I hadn't expected. Once I settled back into my familiar surroundings, my daughter reached out again, suggesting I come live with her for a while. But after my experience at my son's house, I felt a wave of apprehension wash over me. I outright refused her invitation, wary of what another change in environment might bring. The truth is, I had taken care of my son's children for a brief time, but my daughter's kids had always been under the care of their other grandmother. I couldn't shake the feeling that if I moved in with my daughter, it could lead to disappointment and resentment. Her apartment was small, with only 2 bedrooms, and I worried about my comfort and the potential for further strain on our relationship. In the quiet moments of reflection, I came to understand the old saying that resonates painfully. The parent's house will always be the children's home, but the children's house will never truly become the parent's home. It's a truth that has left me feeling weary and disheartened. With each passing day, I've learned to lower my expectations for both my son and daughter. As I've tried to envision a future filled with support and love, I've also learned that those expectations often come hand in hand with the risk of disappointment. Recently, some neighbors suggested that, given my age and circumstances, I shouldn't rely solely on my children for companionship or support. They encouraged me to seek out a partner who could provide emotional connection and understanding during this stage of my life. It was a thought that lingered in my mind, and with a friend's recommendation, I met Lulu. A kind-hearted woman a couple of years older than I. Lulu receives a pension exceeding 5,000 yuan each month, which is slightly more than mine. My friend assured me that Lulu had a good personality and that she was also seeking companionship after the loss of her spouse a few years ago. Deep down, I found myself intrigued by the idea of starting a new chapter in my life. I didn't want to settle for anything less than a meaningful connection, but I felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps a relationship with someone like Lulu could blossom into something beautiful. With an open heart, I decided. Lulu lives in the neighborhood next to mine, and our friendship blossomed over several months. We often met for leisurely morning strolls through the bustling market, where the atmosphere was vibrant and alive. The air was filled with the enticing aroma of freshly cooked street food, and the lively chatter of vendors beckoned us to explore their colorful stalls. As we wandered from one stall to another, we delighted in sampling everything from crispy spring rolls to sweet dumplings, filling our bags with fresh fruits and vegetables. These outings became a cherished part of my routine, infusing my mornings with warmth and joy. After over 2 months of these delightful excursions, I sensed that our bond was growing stronger. Lulu invited me to his home for a casual get-together, suggesting that I consider renting out my place for a little extra income. He even mentioned that I could make over 100 yuan per month. His consideration touched me, and while I was initially hesitant, I found myself intrigued by the idea of living together. I never anticipated that just a month into sharing a space, I would feel so overwhelmed and exhausted by the arrangement. When I moved in with Lulu, I was filled with hope and anticipation. The idea of sharing expenses and responsibilities excited me. He promised that he would cover all the household costs, and we would shop and cook together. It sounded like a wonderful arrangement, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism about this new chapter. However, once we settled in, the reality of our cohabitation quickly proved to be disheartening. What I envisioned as a harmonious partnership was replaced by chaos and frustration. It wasn't just the division of household chores that became problematic. It was the overwhelming mess that Lulu consistently left behind. His careless habits began to invade my peaceful space, and the disarray was something I simply could not tolerate. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The turning point came during a shopping trip to the mall, where I stumbled upon a stunning second-hand gold ring, beautifully crafted and priced at less than 500 yuan. At that moment, I felt a surge of excitement and hope, imagining how perfect it would be as a token of our budding relationship. It was a small gesture, but one that I believed could capture the essence of our connection. With a heart full of anticipation, I turned to Lulu and suggested we purchase the ring together as a symbol of our commitment. However, his response shattered my hopes. He swiftly dismissed my suggestion, claiming we were too old for such frivolous purchases. Instead, he proposed we use that money for something more practical, like golden pork ribs for dinner. His words struck a chord within me, igniting a wave of disappointment and frustration. I felt my heart sink as I processed his refusal. If he couldn't appreciate the significance of such a small gesture, then maybe I would have to take matters into my own hands. Resolute, I pulled out my card and bought the ring on the spot, feeling a mixture of empowerment and sadness as I made the purchase. It was a statement, a way of asserting my desire for something meaningful in a relationship that felt increasingly one-sided. Lulu had promised that he would share his pension with me each month, which initially gave me a sense of financial security. However, when I brought up the subject after our first month together, I was met with disappointment yet again. He casually informed me that he had already covered the household expenses and preferred to keep the rest of the money for himself. My heart sank at his dismissive attitude. I understood the need to manage finances wisely, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was taking advantage of our arrangement. It wasn't just about the money. It was his selfishness that grated on my nerves. Initially, we had agreed to split the household chores, and the first week seemed to go smoothly. I felt a sense of teamwork and collaboration, but as days turned into weeks, Lulu's true nature began to reveal itself. During the day, he would disappear to play cards with his friends, returning home only when hunger struck, expecting dinner to be ready. On those occasions, I would often find myself standing in the kitchen, pouring my energy into preparing meals, only to be met with criticism about my cooking. "It's too salty," he would say, or "this doesn't taste right," leaving me feeling disheartened and unappreciated. I tried to remind him of our agreement that he would gather the vegetables while I cooked, but he would merely lounge on the couch, indifferent to my struggles. As I poured my heart into every dish, hoping he would notice my efforts, his constant critiques pierced deeper. I began to feel like I was living with a stranger, a man who expected me to cater to his every whim while he did nothing to contribute. It became painfully clear to me that I was dealing with a typical chauvinist who believed it was my duty to take care of him. When I confronted him about this imbalance, he casually brushed it off, claiming that since he was covering our expenses, I should naturally be responsible for most of the housework. That was the moment everything changed. I had always prided myself on being independent and self-sufficient, and I refused to be reduced to someone's servant. With a fire in my heart, I decided that I could no longer tolerate this situation. That very day, I packed my belongings and chose to return to my own home. It was a liberating moment for me, and I felt a rush of relief wash over me. I was fortunate that I hadn't rented out my house yet. It was still my sanctuary, a place where I could reclaim my independence. At first, I thought living alone wouldn't be so bad, but the reality soon set in. As the nights grew longer, I found myself engulfed by an overwhelming sense of isolation. The silence in my home was deafening, and every corner seemed to echo with memories of my late husband. I felt haunted by the absence of laughter and companionship, and the weight of loneliness pressed heavily on my heart. There were times when the stillness felt suffocating, and I longed for the camaraderie I once shared with Lulu, despite the challenges we faced. One fateful day, at a friend's son's wedding, I had a poignant conversation with a friend who was also navigating the complexities of single life. She shared how she had discovered a newfound sense of comfort and convenience while living in a hotel apartment. Her words resonated deeply within me, igniting a spark of curiosity about this lifestyle choice. After the celebration, she generously offered to show me her hotel apartment, and I eagerly accepted her invitation, my heart racing with anticipation. The moment I stepped into her space, I was captivated by the warmth and inviting atmosphere that enveloped me. It was a world apart from the chaos I had experienced, and I finally felt a glimmer of hope for a lifestyle that could cater to my needs and desires. These hotel apartments have gained tremendous popularity in many large cities, particularly those designed for seniors like myself. Each studio was thoughtfully decorated, exuding warmth and charm. The highlight of this lifestyle was the provision of meals, breakfast and dinner, eliminating the need for me to cook and allowing me to focus on enjoying life. The staff even took care of cleaning, which meant I could revel in the luxury of my newfound freedom without the burden of daily chores. The thought of waking up to a freshly prepared breakfast and returning home to a tidy space was a dream come true. After that enlightening day, I returned home filled with determination and excitement. I decided to put my old house up for sale through an agency. I carefully calculated my finances. The rent for my house would yield 1,000 yuan, and with my pension of 4,200 yuan, I could easily transition into a hotel apartment that would provide the comfort and companionship I craved. With a heart full of hope, I called my children to share the wonderful news that I had finally found the perfect lifestyle for myself. "I don't need much," I told them. "Just 1,000 yuan from each of you will suffice. I don't want to be a burden." After a lifetime of hard work and sacrifice, I yearned for the freedom to enjoy my golden years on my terms, surrounded by comfort and companionship. With the support of my savings and a little help from my children, I settled into the hotel apartment, finally embracing the peace and tranquility I had longed for. After years of putting others first, it was time for me to prioritize my well-being and happiness. I firmly believe that money doesn't accompany us when we are born or when we pass away, and I refuse to be a prisoner of it. As long as I can enjoy good food and drink and maintain my independence, I will continue to seek out a lifestyle that resonates with my spirit. This senior hotel, although slightly more expensive at 3,800 yuan a month, is a justified investment in my comfort and happiness. The sense of belonging and community it offers is worth every penny. Some may wonder what will happen when I reach the age limit of 75. But honestly, I prefer not to dwell on such uncertainties right now. I am healthy and vibrant, relishing each day as it comes, embracing this beautiful chapter of my life with open arms. Each sunrise brings new possibilities, and I am grateful for the chance to redefine my life on my terms. As I look forward to the future, I feel a renewed sense of purpose and excitement. My journey is far from over, and I am determined to make the most of every moment, finding joy and fulfillment in the little things that make life beautiful. For living together. The journey of living together as a family, especially when elderly parents move in with their adult children, can be both a profound blessing and a daunting challenge. This arrangement, often born out of necessity but sometimes chosen for the warmth and comfort it brings, creates a unique tapestry of shared lives, experiences, and emotions. For many elderly individuals, moving in with their children is a chance to embrace the support of family in their later years, and to share daily moments that weave together the fabric of their lives. While it offers the opportunity for companionship, support, and the chance to create cherished memories, it also carries the weight of potential misunderstandings, generational gaps, and lifestyle differences. These factors can lead to tensions that cast shadows over what should ideally be a warm, nurturing environment. To foster a harmonious coexistence, it becomes essential for elderly parents to navigate the waters of this new living situation with mindfulness and compassion. This involves focusing on crucial elements such as open communication, mutual respect for boundaries, the preservation of independence, and deep emotional understanding. Embracing this coexistence can lead to a rich, rewarding experience that benefits everyone involved, transforming what might be perceived as a burden into a beautiful journey of shared growth and love. At the heart of this endeavor is the power of open and honest communication. It serves as the cornerstone of any successful relationship, particularly when it involves a blend of generations living under the same roof. Before embarking on this shared journey, it is vital for both parents and children to engage in heartfelt conversations about their expectations and hopes for this new chapter of life. These discussions should be approached with warmth and empathy, allowing each party to express their feelings and desires freely. This dialogue should encompass not just the practicalities, like household responsibilities, financial arrangements, and daily routines, but also touch on the emotional aspects that are often left unspoken. Topics such as privacy, personal space, and the need for alone time are critical components that must be discussed candidly. For example, elderly parents might feel anxious about losing their independence, while adult children may grapple with the desire to protect their parents while respecting their autonomy. By addressing these topics with sensitivity and care, both parties can sidestep the potential pitfalls of misunderstandings and resentment that often lurk in the shadows. It's imperative to create a balance within the home where every voice is valued, every concern is heard, and every individual feels respected. Elderly parents should courageously express their needs and desires while simultaneously embracing the preferences and habits of their children. This mutual respect lays the foundation for a harmonious relationship filled with understanding, compassion, and the willingness to adapt to each other's needs. One of the most significant challenges in this shared living arrangement is the delicate dance of respecting personal boundaries. It's crucial to acknowledge that, despite living nearby, both elderly parents and their adult children lead distinct lives, each with their responsibilities, friendships, and aspirations. For parents, it is essential to recognize and honor the independence of their children, allowing them the freedom to navigate their lives without the weight of excessive scrutiny or judgment. This space for autonomy fosters trust and deepens familial bonds, reinforcing the notion that love does not equate to control but rather thrives in an environment of respect. Conversely, it is equally vital for elderly parents to strive for a sense of independence in their lives. As they face the realities of aging, such as health issues, emotional vulnerability, or the pervasive loneliness that can accompany this stage, the temptation to lean heavily on their children for emotional or physical support can be overwhelming. However, clinging to a sense of autonomy is crucial. It empowers parents to maintain a positive self-image and diminishes the burden they might feel they place on their children. Engaging in activities that bring joy and fulfillment, such as pursuing personal hobbies, joining community clubs, or nurturing friendships outside the familial circle, can instill a sense of purpose and stave off feelings of isolation. Moreover, this pursuit of independence not only enriches the lives of elderly parents but also alleviates some of the pressure felt by their children. When parents actively participate in their own lives, it allows children to feel less responsible for their parents' happiness and well-being, fostering a more balanced and joyful family dynamic. This balance encourages both generations to savor the precious moments they share, transforming ordinary interactions into lasting memories filled with laughter and love. In summary, living together can transform into a beautiful symphony of cooperation, love, and understanding when both elderly parents and their adult children commit to open communication, respect for personal boundaries, and the nurturing of independence. By embracing these principles, families can create a home that is not only supportive but also vibrant and fulfilling, enriching the lives of all involved. This journey, while fraught with challenges, ultimately holds the potential for deep connection, resilience, and the shared joy of family life. Through understanding, patience, and love, the experience of living together can become a cherished chapter in the story of their lives, a testament to the power of family bonds that endure through the trials of time. Flexibility and adaptability are not just important. They are essential when it comes to navigating the intricate dynamics of living with children, especially for elderly parents. Life, in all its unpredictability, presents a constant stream of changes for both generations. The landscape is often littered with challenges, whether stemming from the mounting pressures of work, the exhilarating yet overwhelming journey of raising children, or the potential health issues that can creep in as one age. Each of these factors significantly influences household dynamics, making it crucial for elderly parents to embrace a mindset of flexibility and understanding regarding the various demands their children face daily. Consider the scenario where a parent, having lived independently for many years, suddenly finds themselves sharing a home with their children and grandchildren. It can be quite an adjustment for both parties. There may be moments when elderly parents feel a pang of disappointment or even frustration when their children, who are often juggling multiple responsibilities, appear preoccupied or too busy to engage. These feelings are entirely valid. After all, the desire for connection and family bonding is a deep-rooted emotional need. However, elderly parents must shift their perspective. Instead of interpreting their children's busyness as a personal slight, they should strive to appreciate the complexities of modern life. Acknowledging that everyone is navigating their unique challenges fosters a sense of empathy. This emotional maturity allows for the cultivation of patience and understanding, which are vital for maintaining harmony in a shared living space. When parents extend grace to their children, recognizing the pressures of their busy work schedules or the need for downtime to tend to their own families, it creates a ripple effect of compassion throughout the household. It fosters an environment where communication flows freely, allowing each family member to express their needs and concerns without fear of judgment. This understanding is particularly important when tensions arise, as they inevitably do in any familial setting. By nurturing an atmosphere of empathy, family members can address conflicts with a mindset geared toward resolution rather than discord. Furthermore, the emotional landscape of cohabitation takes on an even deeper significance. As parents age, they often confront a complex tapestry of emotions, including feelings of vulnerability and a poignant sense of loss regarding their independence. These emotions can be daunting to express, often leading to internalized frustration and a sense of helplessness. Therefore, it becomes essential for elderly parents to not only acknowledge their feelings but to find constructive ways to communicate them. This may involve seeking out moments of quiet reflection, journaling, or engaging in open conversations with their children about their emotional needs. By fostering this level of self-awareness, parents can avoid the pitfalls of pent-up emotions that may otherwise lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. Conversely, children must also recognize and empathize with the emotional challenges their aging parents face. The transition to later life can be daunting for anyone, filled with fears about health, dependency, and the unknown. Children need to approach these conversations with a heart full of understanding and patience. By actively listening and offering reassurance, they can help create a nurturing environment where emotions are validated and expressed. This cooperative effort fosters a sense of partnership rather than a hierarchical relationship, allowing both generations to support each other through the inevitable ups and downs of life. In addition to fostering emotional understanding, simple yet profound acts of gratitude and appreciation can serve as the bedrock for a thriving multi-generational household. Living together represents a significant transition for both elderly parents and their children, often accompanied by a whirlwind of adjustments and new routines. During these moments of change, expressing gratitude for one another's contributions and sacrifices can work wonders in nurturing a positive relationship. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. For elderly parents, taking a moment to genuinely thank their children for opening their homes and providing care can go a long way in reinforcing familial bonds. This expression of gratitude serves as a powerful reminder that the effort to live together is a collective endeavor, one that involves compromise and love from both sides. Similarly, children should strive to recognize and appreciate their parents' invaluable contributions to the household. Whether it's through sharing their wisdom, assisting with childcare duties, or simply being a consistent and loving presence, acknowledging these efforts reinforces the idea that everyone plays a vital role in the family unit. This reciprocal exchange of gratitude creates an atmosphere of mutual respect, where everyone feels seen and valued. It strengthens the emotional bonds between generations, ensuring that each family member feels cherished and important in the grand tapestry of family life. By actively participating in this cycle of appreciation, both elderly parents and their children can cultivate a deeper connection, fostering an environment filled with love, understanding, and support. Ultimately, living together as a family, especially across generations, requires a delicate balance of flexibility, emotional intelligence, and gratitude. By nurturing these qualities, families can navigate the complexities of shared living with grace and compassion, creating a harmonious home that serves as a refuge for all. In this nurturing environment, everyone flourishes, and the family grows stronger, embodying the true essence of love and support that is essential in any thriving household. As we wrap up, take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored about the beautiful yet complex journey of living harmoniously across generations. Each piece of advice, whether it's about cultivating patience, fostering open communication, or expressing gratitude, has the power to transform family dynamics into a more compassionate and supportive experience. We'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you the most? What's one lesson you're inspired to put into practice in your own life? Share your thoughts and plans in the comments below. Let's learn from each other's journeys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to building stronger, more loving family connections.